What's up, everybody? Jack Farr here on behalf of Box to Box Football. And James and I are going to come to you today with a quick little video reacting to some, what I would consider quite major news with some major ramifications coming across European football. It comes out of France, comes out of Paris, from Le Parisien. The main kind of crux of the article being Mauricio Pochettino will be kind of fired, or there'll be a mutual agreement of both sides leaving. James, I think you and I would probably agree. Pochettino probably wants out of there as much as PSG want him out of there. So I think there's probably going to be some sort of agreement there where they pay him a good chunk of money and he can just leave. He can just leave the club. However, fascinating part out of this, while Zinedine Zidane's name was dropped in there, of course, Antonio Conte also has supposedly thrown himself into the mix to be a kind of a part of it here. And I just wanted to kind of react, James, to that news, because my initial thoughts is it's less about PSG. Like, I don't really care about PSG's point of view on this because, yeah, they want the best guy available. They're going for Zidane and Conte. Like, of course they are. They've got all the money. They've got the squad. They've got, the support to be able to have success. For me, I'm looking at it more from Conte's point of view and thinking, what the hell are you doing? Do you not, like, I know there's no loyalty in football anymore, right? I'm aware of that. But Harry Kane has stayed at the football club, and chances are Harry Kane will stay at the football club going forward on the basis that he is there. The summer is just round the corner. Harry Kane is not going to want to stick around. The players that have actually been brought into Spurs, while Conte may not have been totally happy, they've spent a good amount of money on some good acquired players who, James, have played pretty well. From the guys who Conte has brought in, they've actually played really, really well. So to me, yeah, again, it's all fair in love and war, or whatever the expressions are, all this kind of stuff. But for Conte to just at the drop of a hat, I don't like this from him at all. And he, as a man, he's gone down a little bit in my estimation, if this is supposedly true. We can get to the other parts of the conversation later, but I just wanted, like, I'm a little, if I was a Spurs fan in particular, I'd be annoyed here, James. I'd be really annoyed.
I don't think Antonio Conte has thrown himself in, has thrown his name into the hat. I think it's more of PSG have approached him on becoming the next manager. And again, I would say it's hard to turn out the PSG job.
Just quickly, James, just so we're dealing with what the report actually says. PSG have decided to sack Pochettino, and Antonio Conte has offered his services to them as he's ready to walk away from Tottenham Hotspur. So Conte has approached them. That's what I don't like. Now, listen, if PSG approach Spurs and go, hey, we'll give you some money, we'd like your manager, fine. The fact Conte, while under contract's gone, yeah, I mean, I've got the players I kind of wanted here, but, I'm ready to kind of move. Like, let me go to your job, even though the guy's still sitting in the manager's chair. I don't like that from him.
But Jack, you must understand, like, where Conte was, like, a few weeks ago with Tottenham, where it was a thing where he was in disarray, hair was falling out, wasn't happy with the transfer window and what he get, as in the way, like, they got rid of a bunch of players and only brought in 2 players. He wanted more, and he didn't get that. And you can clearly see at the time, he looked broken. Now, Tottenham has somehow got themselves into this top 4 race, and like they're in a chance to actually get Champions League football. And to me, it's all going to depend on that. I think Conte stays at the Tottenham job if he gets Champions League football, because why? That's a great building block right there. That gives Harry Kane more of an obligation to stay at Tottenham, because okay, we got Champions League football. We can now attract better players, and we can actually build something here. But if you're Antonio Conte, it's like, okay, if I don't get Champions League football, I have a short-term deal with this team, and I have license to walk away. Would you not do that?
I disagree with you here, though. I think that even if you make top 4 with Spurs, PSG, like, I know this is like me just putting dots together here. Donnarumma, Verratti, Pogba on a free, Neymar's still going to be there, right? There's a transfer market where lots of players are going to be available. Maybe he can get Dybala from Juve on a free to replace. I mean, it's not really a replacement. Nobody can replace Mbappe, but to replace an Mbappe spot or something like that, I don't think that's like, I think that's a pretty easy decision for somebody like Antonio Conte to make. So to me, even if they make top 4, I think Conte's, even if he gets offered the PSG job, he's just going to take it.
No, but I don't feel like the pressures of, first of all, I feel like he's a lot more to gain at Tottenham than he has to gain at PSG. Because Jack, PSG's job. No, Jack, okay, get it. Win the Champions League and then it's it. You've accomplished that. But I have to look at it from...
That's all he'll be brought in for. He's not going to be brought in to win the league, because you and me could win the league at PSG as manager.
and I'm actually not playing. We actually could.
You could. I probably wouldn't, but you could.
But listen, I look at it from this point of view for Conte. If they do get Champions League, Jack, I think that's a hard job to walk away from then, because think about what they have and with Conte and what he would get. Because let's be honest, Jack, PSG are all about the superstars, the glitz and glamour. I don't think if let's say PSG Conte went to the PSG owners and said, "I want a player who's not stat-studded like a Bentancur, for instance." I know he's at Tottenham right now. They wouldn't go crazy to get a Bentancur. You know what type of name that they're looking for, and
Right.
to me, it's a more of a thing where he would find it hard to put his footprint on not just the team but the whole club compared to Tottenham.
But
Everything
I
to me is
think
bigger and harder for him in that situation there. Dealing with these, Jack, Antonio Conte, is great of a manager as he is, dealing with personalities and big personalities has always been a big issue. Let's not, Jack,
the
let's not
thing
come here and
is,
lie.
but I think this is the kick up. Do you not feel like this is the kick up the arse that PSG might need? Do you not think a little bit of
Yes, Jack, listen, when Vince McMahon said, remember when he brought in the NWO and goes, "I'm going to add a bit of poison." Yeah, you know, yes, it works to a certain point, but I look at that, Jack, I look at that team. Antonio Conte working with players like Neymar and Mbappe Neymar, Mbappe, Messi to a certain point. I don't think it's going to work, Jack, because the point of view of the way he is as a manager, how industrious he likes his players to be. Someone like a Christian Eriksen at a time, he struggled to get into the Inter Milan side. Sanchez, like, it would be a hard fit for him. But again, if he can do it, he is Antonio Conte. But secondly, Jack, with his Champions League record, it isn't great. So it's
no.
almost like a thing too
That's
that
a very
you,
good
must,
point.
you, need, you need
That's
to
a very
take
good point.
you need to take into consideration. But just a quick one, I'm going to touch on two things right now. If you're PSG, to me, if you can get Zinedine Zidane, that should be the number one option,
Yeah.
because everything aligns. Everything aligns. It's perfect. But another man that I think that PSG should look at for a short-term basis, because they're not building anything long-term right now. Messi ain't getting old. Neymar is 30. I get it. Mbappe may sign a deal that will keep him there short-term, so afterwards he can go off to Madrid or wherever. But if I was PSG, I would inquire Arsene Wenger to see what he's doing. Honest to God, to me, it's somebody that French, knows the league. Players respect him to a high regard. To me, he has good Champions League pedigree. As much as people say he's been knocked out, this and that. Like, Wenger, to me, would be somebody that they should take a look at. But let me also look at the flip side of it. So let's just say Conte does go to PSG. What's next for Tottenham? Because to me, the easy thing.
I was just about to ask you, James, because listen, and here's why I'm a little fired up at the beginning of the video. I'd be mad at Conte if he's the one pursuing this and he's the one pushing for this. I would, because Harry Kane is not going to be there. What, Pochettino is going to come back?
Jack,
the squad's in a worse position than it was in the past. Your best player's about to leave. Okay, you got some talented guys in there who can do a thing. But what, you're going to overachieve for a bit and then that's going to be it again? I think that's you talk about taking 2 steps forwards and then having like maybe 2 steps back. You're back right where you started. James, it might even be 3 steps back, because the position you're in we know City and Manchester United have separated themselves now. James, I watched my Premier League predictions video from the beginning of the season recently, just because I was interested. And I said there were 5 teams that could win the league last year. I said that. There were 5 teams, and I threw Leicester in there. But I threw Leicester in there with Chelsea, Manchester United, and then obviously City and Liverpool. That to me was the tier. There were a 5-team tier. City and Liverpool have separated themselves from that tier. That tier below that you'd say, yeah, maybe Chelsea are in there, maybe by themselves. Spurs are now in that 3rd tier. They're not even in that kind of top tier or that 2nd tier. They're now that tier below again. So I don't know if Pochettino's now going to go in there and go, hey, Daniel Levy, I'm back. Can we recover the mistakes of the past? It's not going to happen, I don't think.
But Jack, you got to look at this from this point of view. When Pochettino left Tottenham, his stock was as high as ever, and it looked like he was going to get that dream job at Manchester United. I think a job that, to me, to a certain point, he was almost obsessed with. Like, that's my dream match. That's my perfect match. It didn't happen. The Real Madrid job, is he that much of a lure now than like what he used to be? No. I look at the way he's built right now and where he is. The Barcelona thing, he's not going to get where he is. Jack, the only option to him after leaving them might just be Tottenham. Seriously, Jack.
I mean, he could
You know?
go to Italy. He could do one hell of a job at an Italian team. He could, and I'm not ruling that out. But again, Italian football right now, we're not talking about PSG, Real Madrid, the top English teams that you've mentioned there. If you're going to be an Italian team, it's going to be like, yeah, okay, try and win a Scudetto, try and improve on the pretty abysmal record Italian teams have had in Europe over the last few years, especially in the Champions League. But again, you're still kind of in no man's land. It is that tier below the top managers. So again, I'm just amazed. I'm amazed by this news. Again, the reason why I'm so believing in it and trusting of it, guys, it's Le Parisien, right? This is not some dodgy, this is not like Kicker in Germany reporting this kind of news. This is a Parisian news publication reporting on a Parisian football team about the manager who, let's connect the dots, he's not going to be there next season. The guy to come in and replace him, who knows who that might be? We want to say it's Zidane, but Zidane is supposedly holding himself out for that French national team job. And then if Conte does leave Spurs, where would Spurs go? James, I'll be honest, I thought about this the other day. You know who I would have had as like the prime candidate to replace Antonio Conte at Spurs? A guy called Erik ten Hag. He's already agreed a deal to go somewhere else. So guys, let us know what you think in the comment section. Is Conte doing Spurs dirty here? I certainly think so, if this is to be believed. Is Pochettino going to go back to Spurs? Is Conte going to go to PSG and actually win them a Champions League? Let us know what you think. Drop a like on the video, and we'll see you next time.